everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Josephine here, and today I shall be teaching topic 9, tonal melodic composition from the grade 6 Practicing Music Theory workbook. How do you actually compose a melody of 8 to 10 bars long or even more? What are the technical skills and elements that a student should know? In the grade 6 examination, there are two options, A and B. In the A option, it is usually a tonal melodic opening. In the B option, it can be in a more modern style. Let us now look at page 64 of the workbook to begin with the technical elements.
This example by Mendelssohn from the Hebrides is in B minor. Here is the motif. This motif is repeated in the next bar. It is then played a sequence higher and then repeated. It then goes a fifth higher than its original. Before the melody ends with a modulation to E major.
A motif can be inverted, known as an inversion, of which the intervals of the motif or a melody move in the opposite direction. Augmentation refers to the lengthening of the note values of the motif. Diminution refers to the shortening note values. And imitation refers to the melody being played by another instrument or another voice part. Here we have an example, the motif in C major by J.S. Bach. It has an ascending figure of which it is being imitated an octave below. The motif is sounded a perfect fifth higher and then imitated an octave below again. In the next bar, the motif is inverted in the opposite direction with a sequence that follows. Interestingly, in the bass part, we can see the rising four notes which originated from the motif itself, but now with the rhythms, here it is in augmentation. Let us listen to this passage. Let us now look at the next page, antecedent and consequent phrasing. In this example, we have the antecedent phrase, 4 bars, ending with an imperfect cadence. In the next phrase, it is a consequent phrase, also 4 bars, which ends with a perfect cadence. Here it goes. Not all phrases are regular. In the next example, we can look at the use of irregular phrasing.
In the example by Purcell, it consists of an antecedent phrase of 2 plus 3 bars and a consequent phrase of 3 plus 4 bars. When phrases are of irregular lengths, they are no longer 2, 4, or 8 bars long. Here it goes. The consequent phrase. Phrases can be extended. In the next example by Handel, the antecedent phrase is 4 bars long. The consequent is 6 bars. The reason being the last 2 bars form an extension. Here it is. And the extension
In this example, it is a long melody by Mozart. Here we can see an interpolation of 3 bars. The melody started with an antecedent phrase, which is 4 bars, responded by a consequent phrase of 6 bars. With a linked, the antecedent phrase is repeated. Thereafter, the consequent phrase consists of an interpolation which extends it by another 3 bars. In the next example, we can look at contrasting phrases, but they are not altogether that contrasting. We can see the first phrase here, which is in the key of E flat major, being 4 bars long. Then the consequent phrase, also another 4 bars. It has some similarities, such as this dotted rhythm over here, and the differences you can notice the syncopation in this bar, as well as quicker semiquavers here. Let us look at the next page on modulation. What is a modulation? When we modulate, we change keys. There are 2 ways to effect a modulation, either by a gradual way or by an abrupt way. In gradual modulation, we will make use of a pivot chord. In an abrupt modulation, we use a pivot note. Here we have the modulation from the tonic key to the subdominant, dominant, and relative key. These are the most closely related keys. In this first example, the chords modulated from A minor with 1, 5, C, 1B to C major, ending with 2, 5, 1.
On chord 4, it serves as a pivot chord, which is chord 2 in C major, thus modulating very smoothly into the relative major.
If we look at both keys, here we have C major with chord 2, 4, 6, and 7. If we look at A minor, these are the chords that are shared by both the keys. In A minor, it would be 4, 6, 1, and 2. To effect a modulation, it is most important to have a cadence. And of course, when the modulation takes place, the notes of accidentals must be placed in the new key. In the next example, on the next page, we look at how an abrupt modulation is being effected. In this case, in C major, chord 1, it moves immediately or abruptly into A minor. However, we can see that there is a pivot note, which is a common note in both keys. And then the note G moves by a chromatic movement to G sharp before resolving to the tonic A. In composing a melody, it is most important to establish its melodic shape and direction. Here we look at binary form. It is a form in 2 parts, A, B. Usually it begins in the tonic key and ends the section A with the dominant or relative key. Section B takes off in the key of which ended section A and continues and develops before it returns to the home key. In most instances, both A and B sections share the same melodic material. The ternary form is in 3 parts, normally known as A, B, A. A begins in the tonic key and then modulates to its related key. B section takes off in the related key and then returns to A and the tonic key. You may wish to study next few examples in the workbook, playing the melodies on your instruments. You may wish to observe the modulations, the melodic contour, the use of the antecedent and consequent phrases, and how the motifs are being used to develop the melody. I hope you have enjoyed this session, and I look forward to seeing you in the next topic on modern melodic composition.